Good morning, YouTube. This is True Turtle, and today we're going to talk about Farket's Update 18 video and talk about some opinions and other ideas and things that he mentioned. This is better to watch if you've seen the original video. If you haven't, just search it up, Farket, and it's also a good time to go ahead and subscribe and hit his notification. Good content for Sons of the Forest. All right, let's begin.
Hello everyone, it's Farket here, and in this video I'm going to cover Update 18. Now the first addition is that they've added skunks to the game, and the skunks can shoot their rear end at you. When it hits you, it slows you down, you lose some of your vision, but you don't take any damage and you don't get sick, from what I can tell. Seemed like a bit of a missed opportunity here. I think the spray should make you somewhat sick, even if it's just a little bit. Otherwise it's just a 2-second negative effect, which is kind of disappointing.
Interesting. I don't know about this. Sick in what sense, I wonder? Because I don't see how it could do damage over time, but I do agree that it doesn't really do anything to the player. What I was thinking more of is, what if the odor would attract more cannibals because of the foul smell, and it would be easier to find you and pretty much ruin your camouflage, that, you know, despite the armor and the crouching, the smell would just give you away. I see how that would make sense. And maybe a better getting sprayed animation, like covering your face or something. And hopefully, you know, like kind of like the blood, you could just wash it off. It didn't work in real life, but you could just wash off the smell if you go dive into water or something. In my previous video where I was talking about ideas to improve the combat, one of them was more poison options. Poison options that can irritate the enemy, and poison options that can blind the enemy. I think that the skunk might actually be the answer to this, because the skunk can definitely cause irritation and maybe even blindness. Someone is skinning a skunk, they need to remove the anal glands, you know, the stuff that holds the foul odor. They need to take those off. Why not? Might as well be able to extract those, attach it to the tip of arrows, and that can act as the blindness arrow or so. I think this might be good, because it's good to have animals produce more than just the meat, to distinguish the value of each animal. For example, birds can also give you feathers. It's better to be able to, you know, make more out of what you already have going for you, M. Night. This is a good idea.
Next is that they've added a small rabbit hutch and a rabbit hutch. This is for holding and breeding rabbits. Now the small rabbit hutch, that just holds 2 rabbits, you can't breed with them. They're just for temporary holding rabbits, probably until you can get a rabbit hutch up. So when you capture a rabbit now in a small animal trap, it doesn't kill it like all the other animals that it captures. And in the hutches, they've got a pile of leaves that you need to stock up. Holds 12. I think rabbits would prefer grass, but saves them adding a new item. Then again, I live in a place that where having a rabbit is a $5,000 fine. So I don't really know much about him.
I like this. This is actually something that I've been wanting to talk about, that will come out in a video hopefully soon. Livestock and ideas of farming them. The idea of having to feed them. This is really good. That's something that gets brought up a lot, that the map is too big and not enough to do. But this is how to fix that, and this is the right way to fix that, is that doing things to keep up with something that genuinely benefits you, such as feeding the animals you're farming. It's a really good idea. Unlike the forest, I also hoped you could also put more than just rabbits inside those cages. I don't know about birds, but I was always hoping you could put one of the lizards into those cages from the forest. I don't know if they'll do that in this one. And $5,000, that's crazy.
The next thing is that creepy attack parties will now be sent towards the plating structure instead of the player. This is for item plating or armor plating. 2 creepy waves will be sent. It used to go for the player, but now goes for the structure, which is excellent, which means it's going to make it easier for players to defend. They'll be able to place the defensive structures around the plating structure. Didn't make sense that they were chasing down the player. I mean, it kind of did, but it wasn't the player that drawed them out in the first place.
This is fine. I like it.
Next is that the scarecrow will now prevent eagles and seagulls from grabbing food or landing nearby. This structure has been in the game since the game has been released over a year ago, and it had no use, and it used 4 duct tape, which is quite a lot.
That is absolutely true. I remember when I first played, I built it and I kind of regretted it because it did nothing. But I did had some ideas about it, and I didn't want to mention in this video, but I did wanted to see some more aggressive animals like wolves or bears that would want your berries and stuff, and scarecrows could help with some of those animals, like the birds. actually taking away your berries or something. But Farket will also mention a couple things here.
I spawned in fish to see how they'll actually react. Seagulls come down and nibble on the fish, but don't actually make the fish disappear or anything like that. Eagles will swoop down and pick up the fish and carry it away a short distance and start eating it. Whether they completely eat it, I'm not sure. But if you go over to where the eagle is, it scares it away and you can get your fish back. I did tests with a drying rack as well. They do come down to the racks where the fish are, but they don't take them. I think this is more of like a realism thing, but not at the same time. Because they don't take the fish, your food's 100% safe. Where a scarecrow might be actually helpful is if Kelvin is fishing, he drops the fish right next to him. Eagles will come by and swing and pick that up and take it with them. I hope they expand upon this. Otherwise, it just seems a bit disappointing. Realistically, they would take your fish if you're not protecting them.
This is completely true, and it's also one of the things that I'm surprised the game doesn't take advantage of, because making your base is seen as pointless because there aren't any duties to keep protecting it and, to keep you busy actively defending something valuable to you.
Next is that they improve the cannibal culling ranges when viewed with the binoculars. Basically what this means is that if you go up to a camp and you can't see them and you use binoculars, they will render in. But as soon as you don't, they render out. So it could be good for scouting out cannibal villages to know if there's enemies there. What is weird about this though, is that it doesn't work for mutants or puffies. I don't know about the mutants themselves, but I'm assuming it doesn't work. The binoculars have a very short range of zoom, which is a little bit disappointing. I think it's cool that they actually have a proper use though I feel like the use is quite limited.
It's completely fine that they're improving the tool, but this one just doesn't really feel like it has much of a use, or because it lacks a niche. It's not really, where's the ideal time to actually set up the tool for it to be used. I'm trying to think here and I can't really come up with much, not even in like a stealth approach or something, because it doesn't have mechanics connect to it, I guess. If it were more like how they work in Far Cry, I can kind of see the use of the binoculars, but at the same time, I don't know if we want that Far Cry mechanic in the forest, so I don't know. It's hard to make an opinion on this one.
Next is that they improved deer and moose dynamic avoidance. This is one of those vague changes where I don't know if this actually makes it easier or harder to hit the deer. And avoidance, does that mean that they're more likely to avoid spears or shots from a bow? Or is this just chasing them down? Or does it make it easier or harder to chase them through the woods when there's trees in the way? On this footage here, I don't have trees in the game. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. My thought is that it would improve their AI from coming to you so conveniently, I guess. It's like before meeting you, they have more of an effort to avoid you in the first place. I think that's what it might have been. I don't know.
Next is that they fixed an issue with storage sometimes losing items when full, and fixed a duping issue when adding items to storage. I don't know anything about these two things. I haven't actually been able to play the game since it's been in full release, and it's been in full release for over a month now.
I haven't been able to play for a while either, mainly because I want to play with my wife and we're having technical issues and trying to find a good PC, a reasonable price. But really quickly, on dupling issues, I'm glad that they're covering that. That was a big problem in the forest. I know it's more of a player's option, but I just felt like having it happen in a normal game just kind of accidentally had the players shoot themselves in the foot by robbing themselves of a good experience. At the same time, I do like the idea that you can get really creative and still be able to play sort of as a regular match, more like where you can create to your heart's content and have what you need to make a game mode out of it, not so much to be a survival experience. I feel like if they do the whole creative mode, that they should let you take damage if you wish or so. That there's good stuff in that too.
Next wasn't listed, but I noticed a flare guy standing up, and when I went over to him, he fell down and died. I hadn't seen this one. This must be a new one. I don't know if it was mentioned in the last update. I got no idea. Just thought I'd show it.
That's pretty cool.
And next is just the rest of the patch notes. There's some fixes and such. Nothing really stands out. They said they improved some animations. They don't actually mention what animations they improved. There's one in there like fixed rabbits not being saved on load if caught in a trap, so that can be kind of handy, and some other fixes as well. But yes, that's it. I haven't been keeping up to date with the game, so I don't know where the game's at, even if there's a timer on the updates. I do wish they would number their updates. They had a good system, and I feel like they're messing with it.
I agree.
Anyway, this is a good update. Shows that they're still working on the game, regardless of it being in full release.